Hi everyone, this is Adrienne Green, Realtor with Sampson Properties, and I am here today with Nicole DeMiglio. She is a coach with DeMiglio Coaching. She's a certified MAPS business coach and a certified One Thing coach, and she is going to speak with us today about leverage and how someone can use leverage in their business. So let's start with what is leverage and how can people use it in their business?
That's a great question. First of all, thank you for having me, Adrienne. I'm excited to be here with you. Leverage is one of the most powerful tools that you can have in your business. It's something I get really excited about, maybe a little nerdy. I'll say that up front. And leverage can multiply your time, right? So if you're working by yourself, which a lot of business owners are solopreneurs, right? And you were to get an assistant, I want you to imagine like a seesaw, right? Like there was, one of you and now we've just doubled you. And so leverage lifts you up so that you can do more. And it can just be a good multiplier for any business owner, or even as you grow into a big company, right? It's the reason we hire, right? We earn the right to hire when we make a certain level of income, and then we can't take on the business. We're so successful, we can't take on what we have on our own anymore.
Mm-hmm. Great. And so, you mentioned when we earn the right to hire. So how does a person afford leverage and when do they make that decision?
That's a great question. So in MAPS Business Coaching, we talk about earning the right to hire by looking at your budget model. So if you're not making your revenue goals, then you can't really afford to hire somebody, then you probably haven't earned the right to hire them. So first we're going to look at, the financials to make that decision. And also, do you have there, a couple questions I ask if we can play red light, green light, if you get green light from your budget that you can hire somebody, then after that, do we have a job description for them? Do we know what they're going to be doing? Or are we just all over the place, right? Like, I just have all these things on my plate. Being clear about what it is that we want to leverage in our business, and we make that decision based on how, what the biggest bang for our buck is. What are the things in our business that are not income generating? Those are the things that we want to give to somebody else that can do at least half as good as we can and for less money.
And so what are some roles or tasks that you see people often do hire out for, do use leverage for? What are common things that people are hired for?
That's a great question, Adrienne, because it really depends on what kind of, what needs you have and your budget balanced together. So I talk about something called the focus funnel, and it's from a book called Procrastinate on Purpose. And so the first form of leverage is actually, what can I eliminate? So there may be things that are coming up on your to-do list and in the things that you find yourself doing over and over again that you actually don't need to do. And actually, some of those things are things that you don't like doing, and so they keep showing up because you don't do it. Like, oh, I didn't do that this week, I'm going to move that to next week. So actually, that's a form of leverage, to just cut those things off the list. They don't need to be there. So I would first encourage you, lighten the load, number one. That will leverage you. That will leverage your time. The next thing that we talk about, they're all the 8 words. So the first one is eliminate. The second one is automate. And this is my favorite one because this is where I get a little nerdy with technology and apps. And so what can a system or an app or some form of technology do that would be cheaper than hiring a person and potentially even more effective? Mm-hmm. So for example, something really easy, maybe you find yourself sending the same emails over and over. Someone inquires about your business and you find yourself just typing the same thing over and over. That is something that you want to create a template for. There's no reason that you should be typing that over and over. You can just save that in a document on your computer and copy and paste. There's also something called canned responses in Gmail that saves the templates that you use all the time. And
I love canned responses. Use it all the time.
I know, this is where I geek out. I really, really like all the little shortcuts, the hacks, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a good one. There's also an email program that I happen to like a lot. That's an integration into your Gmail account, and it's called Mixmax, Mixmax. Okay. And what it does is it saves all of your templates so that you just click on the one you want, and it highlights all the fields that need to be changed. So that, sometimes when you use the template, you could forget and you're like, I don't want a client to see that I missed that. That was really for somebody else because I tweaked it. It gives you all of those spots highlighted. And then as you fill them out, they turn, it takes the highlight away.
That's
so
awesome.
It's really cool. It's really, really cool. I love it. And the other thing that it does is let's say a lot of times we wait for somebody else to respond to us to take the next action on something. And so what you can do with Mixmax is when you send the email, say that if they haven't, you can put a setting on it that says if they haven't responded in 3 days, to put that email at the top of your inbox so that you remember to follow up with them. So it's a really awesome follow-up tool as well. Because follow-up, the fortune's in the follow-up, right? Like that's the part that I think gets lost sometimes because we get so busy moving on to the next client or the next thing. And so that can be a super helpful tool as well.
Yeah.
Some other forms of leverage. So we believe at Mass Business Coaching that your personal life leads into your professional life. So templates is a more professional tool. There are some other things that you can use, some apps to save you time in your personal life. One of the ones I like is Tiny Scanner. And that actually, that's actually both personal and professional. I use it to scan things like my kids' forms after I sign them and send it, off to school. Or I can use it for a contract or something I want to send a client, or receipts. That's a great one. Snap my picture of my receipt so I don't lose it for my taxes. And then I email that PDF over straight to my bookkeeper, actually. I think she loves it. So that's a good one. I like Tiny Scanner. Something as simple as a budget app on your phone. There's one I took Financial Peace last year. There's an Every Dollar app for that. There's an app called Clarity, things that you can just, that make life easier and you can stick it on your phone. And I think we're all getting good at ordering our groceries, right, Adrienne?
Oh my goodness. I love that. Even before this whole situation, I had definitely fallen in love with ordering my groceries online from my phone and then just driving and having them loaded in my car. Amazing.
Yes. So if we can save mom time, right?
Yeah.
By doing those things, and there's like 800, go get it picked up, go get it delivered. There's all the meal services, right? I don't know if you've tried any of, the boxed meals like Blue Apron or Plated, but all of those things are time savers, and as an entrepreneur, your time is money. So those are great as well.
That's great that you mentioned leverage and time savers, both in terms of business opportunities and then also for, household tasks, so that when we're not working, we have more enjoyable time. So now when would you say that people should move on to the leverage of hiring someone, and where do they start with that process?
That's a great question. So again, we've looked at your budget, right? Do we have, what we usually say is you have at least 3 months of a salary to pay them. So anybody that you hire into your business, and this is straight from our leverage course that we give for hiring, they're on a 30-day probationary period. So every 30 days you're evaluating, are they doing what they're supposed to do? Are you getting the return that you want from them in your business? Are they, are they being that leverage? Are they taking things off your plate? Also remembering that in their first 30, 60, 90 days, they're also still learning. So it's not going to be your maximum leverage, but it is important to have benchmarks for that person as they go. So if you've got 3 months of salary for that person, that would be a good sign that you're ready to hire. And also, looking at your revenue, if you feel like your projections are going to continue to increase as well, that would be a good sign. Places to start, I'll allude back to what I started to say before, which is start with a list of all the things you don't like doing, or all the things that you find yourself paying a lot of money to outsource, and then start to create a job description, or what we like to call a missing persons report. There is somebody missing in your organization, and start there. And that should include what their job tasks should be, as well as what the characteristics of a person that you want to hire is. And there's a list I brought with me to share with you.
Oh, great.
That I love, called, it's a list that we call talent versus non-talent. So a couple of the things, I won't read you the whole list, but to give you a taste, this is a list I like to compare myself to, right? How are we doing in our own job role? So non-talent in a role brings you problems. Talent in a role finds solutions. Non-talent doesn't fulfill your needs and ends up giving you back pieces of their job. So that's the part where you're like, it would have been easier if I just did it. Like they just handed it back to me, right?
Yeah.
Talent shares your goals and fulfills your needs as a natural byproduct of fulfilling their own. And then the one that I think that's really funny, non-talent may not know where the existing bar is set or even what bar you're talking about. and talent is continually raising the bar, and they're also pushing you a lot. So those are just a couple. I won't read through the whole list, but anybody that touches your business in a form of leverage, whether it's in your business, whoever is going to run, maybe run a sign out to a property or a lockbox for you, that's actually a really important hire because they're representing your brand. And I know how important that is to you, that everybody, in your world represents you well, and you have a high quality of service that you want to provide to your clients. Mm-hmm. So using that talent or non-talent list for everybody from, the runner that runs things for you to, when you hire a CFO for, to help you with, the finances of your organization and where to move in that direction. Mm-hmm. All of those are things that you would look at the talent versus non-talent list for.
Yeah, no, that's true. We should hold everyone, no matter what position they have, to certain standards. And that's a great list that can apply to any job. Now, what about if people are thinking of hiring family members? Do you find that works well or not well? Or what are some risks or rewards of that kind of situation? Because I think that a lot of small business owners end up hiring family to work with them.
That's a loaded question. All right, so I grew up in a family business, so I have two answers to this question. The practical side of me says that there are tax breaks for hiring your family members, and I am not a tax expert, so you should talk to your accountant about that. But I do know that that would be a benefit of hiring your family members. This is a really personal question. For everybody, it's a little different. My general feeling is I saw how difficult it was to manage the relationships and how it took a toll on the relationships of the people in my family. And I would never ever hire family so that business didn't get between us. But I do think it depends, it's individual to every family and every person. And I just have an experience of it not being positive.
I didn't know you were from a family business. Can I ask, what kind of business your family had?
Sure. It was my grandfather owned Callahan's. It's a hot dog restaurant. It was a hot dog restaurant that was a historic landmark on the New Jersey side of the George Washington Bridge.
Oh.
Yep. And my uncles worked it, and my dad worked it, and now my brother has taken that brand, and he has an award-winning food truck. And so yes, this is the legacy of hot dogs and other amazing food in our family.
Oh, well, that is really cool to know. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right. Well, I think that is a lot of great information for people to get started to think about leverage. And I really appreciate that you shared about the technology and the person aspect of it, that we can start with technology, very low cost, maybe lower risk, and move on as our budget and business needs grow. Now, I know you said you had some free resources at your website that people could use to get started.
Absolutely. So I teach the leverage class. I'm happy to bring it anywhere. If there's a group that wants to have me, I'm happy to share my class. There's also a litany of free classes taught by my colleagues, my fellow coaches as well. And you can find all of our free trainings at mymapscoach.com. And I'm also, my COVID special right now, my goal is just to help people get through this time of COVID. And so I'm happy to sit down with anybody and do free coaching sessions. So feel free to reach out to me and schedule some time, and we'll sit down and we'll dig through your business and together figure out what's going to be best to help you get through this.
And I have to say to everyone who's watching, I sat down with Nicole this morning and spent about a half an hour going through my business. And I'm somebody who is pretty diligent overall, and still in half an hour, she definitely gave me some great ideas that I think will already. So that was about 4 hours ago. Already it's helping me do things better. So I can say that I would personally say, even if you feel like you're doing pretty well with your business, reach out to Nicole, give her a try, hang out for half an hour with her over Zoom or on the phone, and it'll definitely help. I'll post all of her contact information down below as well to help you guys facilitate communicating with Nicole.
Oh, thanks, Adrienne. If you win, I win. That's totally my goal, right? And you're right. Sometimes it's about breaking through the ceiling. Your business could be doing great, and you're just ready to break through to that next spot. So I'm happy that our session this morning was helpful.
Yeah, it was great. So, well, thank you also for sharing everything about leverage here. And like I said before, Nicole DeMiglio Coaching. She's certified as a MAPS business coach and a certified One Thing coach, and she's a great resource. and she's really available at the moment. So reach out, especially if your business is struggling with COVID, and she will help you turn that around.
Thank you, Adrienne. Bye, everybody.